more than 80% of the hair on your scalp are in the active growing phase. And it can be anything between 2 to even 8 years.
A growing phase, 8 years?
Yes, which is why you can have such long hair.
Hello and welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk About This. Here with us today, we've got Dr. Elias Sam, and we're going to be talking about one of Mike's biggest nightmares, hair loss.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's all men's nightmare, right?
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Actually, women as well. It's not just men.
It is true,
Yeah.
it is true. But we have our male pattern baldness, right, that happens, so...
Well, there is female pattern baldness as well.
Oh,
Is
okay.
there?
Oh, yeah, it affects both male and female. Well, men, yes, prevalence is 50% of men. But women is not far behind, it's 40%.
Really?
Yeah.
But, you know, basically what's happening to me, see how this is kind of thinning out in there? That doesn't really happen to women, though, does it?
Well, men in general is what we see as a receding hairline.
Receding,
right?
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, but female will have a generalized kind of hair loss on the top, the vertex. But it doesn't mean that it's restricted to just the man to have receding
Yeah.
or female to have a general. It can actually be the other way around as well.
So why don't you share with us the secret of how we can have a full head of hair at the age of 90?
90 years. Number one, you have to pray for your genes,
Yes,
parents.
right.
Okay, it's hereditary. So the first thing is, genetically, are you prone to hair loss or not? The next thing is, of course, depending on situation, it can be hormonal. So hormonal can be, for example, people with thyroid problem. So
Right.
they can hyperthyroid, hypothyroid, or sometimes even stress.
Yeah, which is what happened to me when I went through a very stressful period in my life.
Right.
And then just all of a sudden I was taking a shower and just, I go like this, I'm like, ah! So my hands are like, that's never happened before.
Right.
For men, but for ladies, it's a little bit different. A lot of time is either they have very bad, heavy flow menses.
Right.
That cause anemia, lack of blood. And that can actually increase hair loss or postpartum. So
Are
very
any of
sensitive.
these types of hair loss, the type of hair loss that, okay, it's going to come back, or are these no, you better start thinking of other options?
A lot of the conditions actually are reversible.
Okay.
Yeah, if you treat it well and your hair has the opportunity to grow back, the hair actually returns.
That's good to know.
How much hair loss per day is just a normal hair loss?
Well, anything
Or
between
falling
50
out.
to 100 should
Okay.
be all right.
We've got a
What's
picture there.
that one there? Anagen?
Oh, okay, so this is talking about the hair growth cycles. Anagen is what we call the active growing phase, and the telogen is what we call the resting phase. Catagen is in between. More than 80% of the hair on your scalp are in the active growing phase, and it can be anything between 2 to even 8 years.
A growing phase, 8 years?
Yes, which is why you can have such long hair. So that is also genetically predisposed. So some people say, why can't I grow long hair like you? Because the hair cycle is shorter.
In my head, I just imagine that if you don't get a haircut, your hair gets
Keep growing
long.
longer. You notice hair drop, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Which is the telogen phase.
So,
So you will wait a while, anything up to 3 months
So
before you
that's
start
a
growing
cycle
again.
right there.
Yeah, that's a cycle.
so it's genetics,
Number one is genetics.
then it's health.
Yes,
Taking care of
because
yourself,
your
right?
health affects your
Everything,
everything,
right?
right? And the skin is the largest organ in your body. So anything that affects your health will affect the skin, which will then in turn affects the hair.
So basically, if I were to say dye my hair a lot, am I increasing my chances of hair loss?
Well, if you irritate the scalp, it may increase the
Right.
rate of hair loss.
Sucks, because then it's
Right?
like, yeah, you want your hair to look good and healthy, so you color it. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, but I'm damaging it.
Yeah.
Well, therefore, you have to choose the type of spray, the type of dye that you use. Try not to irritate the scalp too much.
Okay, what about all of these things? This is interesting comb.
It looks
also made to fire
it's
combs,
gonna
right?
massage your head. I
this
heard if you comb your hair too much, you...
So traction. There are people who say that if you comb, you increase hair growth. But
Yeah, like you're
the
stimulating,
problem
right?
is if you comb too much and you have a lot of traction on the hair, you get what we call traction alopecia. That means you're losing hair due to all the traction or the pulling. Almost like putting very tight hairband.
So then
on
putting
rubber band.
hairbands on can cause hair
It
loss.
might. If you are prone to hair loss, and there are people who are so tight in the
Yes.
hair bun, right? It's literally pulling it. You notice that if they keep doing that almost on a daily basis, they actually get hair loss.
What about, I wear hats a lot.
I heard that
there any issues
hats,
with hats?
helmets, apparently it causes hair loss, but I'm not sure if that's
Well,
myth
it's
or...
not a main cause of hair loss. Again, if you wear it and your scalp is very sensitive, you get a lot of inflammation, infection, and leading to scarring, yeah, maybe then that may result in permanent hair loss. But otherwise, it is not a concern.
Okay, because I have hair loss now. What can I do about this?
Hair loss. Well, I have a simple concept that you can try and understand. I call it the hair gardening concept.
Okay.
So in gardening, you look at the seed, the soil, the nutrients,
Oh my
right?
goodness, please tell me
Water.
we're going to plant hair on Mike's head.
No, and then you still
I'm
have
a
to look
chia
at the insecticide, and you must have sun, right, for gardening.
Yeah.
So for hair gardening,
Yep.
you have to make sure, look at the hair follicle,
Okay.
Right.
look at the skin condition,
Okay.
look at the blood flow and nutrients, blocks the hormones that's giving problem, and stimulating it.
Okay.
So you only need to do a hair transplant when there is no more hair follicles.
How would you know if I have hair follicles there or not?
Well, visually, if you inspect, if there's still hair, thinning. And sometimes what we do is that we magnify it and look under magnification to
But
see
Could there be
usually,
no growth, but-
receding hairline means it's dead,
more.
right?
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, so if let's say this area that is shiny,
Yeah.
so there is no hair follicles, then to get hair growth there is challenging. Sometimes, by prescribing certain medication like finasteride, some people notice baby hair coming back.
Yeah, I was on that for a while, and I'm not on it anymore. I don't know why.
There is actually another way to prescribe finasteride, which is
Okay.
topical.
Oh.
So, but it has to be done through compound pharmacy. So the doctors will actually have to write the prescription. make
I've
the
never heard of a
product
compound pharmacy.
Yeah,
What's that?
Where the pharmacies will actually manufacture that product specifically for one patient.
Wow.
This is compound pharmacy.
Would you say that's better than popping the finasteride pill?
Well, for those who find that they're very sensitive to the oral medication, this is a lot safer. And sometimes for female, they can't take finasteride. We may add in topicals like spironolactone. It's diuretics that blocks the male hormones. But overall, you still need to make sure that other factors that we mentioned are taken care of. So make sure the health is taken care of. And if it is not, if you are not sure, do a blood test. They may have thyroid problem, or they may have some other autoimmune disease which need to be treated
Right.
before we can start to consider how do we increase the amount of hair for the person.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Elias. This
welcome.
has been a pleasure, and hopefully my hair will just grow back from this conversation. Stimulation.
keep
Not the
my
conversation,
fingers
no, you
crossed
need to
for
do
you,
something
Mike.
about
Keeping my
it. But
fingers
you look
crossed.
good, you look all right.
Hey, you too, man. You too. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching another episode of
We need to talk about this. If you like this clip, don't forget to catch our main series, Let's Talk About Health, on Channel 5 and MeWatch.